Hey guys, I'm Rand Younger, and this is another episode of Under the Radar, where we talk all things film. And I have a wonderful panel of guest critics. As always, ladies first, we have Rachel Cole. Welcome back, Rachel.
Hi, happy to be back.
Yes, happy to have you. We also have Eric Godfrey. Welcome back, sir.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
Sure. And of course, Mr. Matt Roran. Hello.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Welcome. So guys, it's been a crazy week, but I just wanted to just start things off. We lost a very prominent member of the entertainment community. Mr. Ed Asner had passed away just a few days ago. And I just wanted to acknowledge his body of work. He was a wonderful actor. He was comedic as well as dramatic. And I know him best from aside from the Mary Tyler Moore Show, his wonderful voice role in Pixar's Up, which is just a beautiful film, and he really elevated it to great heights, literally. So I just want to go around, guys. Were you a fan of Mr. Asner, Rachel?
Absolutely, I was. And I wanted to give a shout out to a great show on Netflix that he was a part of for the first season called Dead to Me. It's excellent, really good, like dark humor, but he also gets a lot of very heartwarming moments in it. Just gets to play a great character in the first season. So definitely give that a watch if you have not seen it.
Oh, well, Dead to Me, huh? All right. Eric, how about you? Were you a fan of Mr. Asner?
Huge. I mean, I feel like it's kind of impossible to have watched anything in the past couple of decades and not have Ed Asner attached to it in some way, especially when it comes to his voice acting.
Oh, yeah.
Like the man has, like you were mentioning, Up is one of the biggest, but he has had a breadth of just all these. Like, weirdly enough, like, you want to know one of his craziest roles? He was Granny Goodness on the DC cartoons.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fun.
So an evil grandma who worked for Darkseid.
Are you referring to the Superman animated series?
He did it for Superman and Justice League. He did it. He always did the voice of the character.
Yes.
I had no idea. That's awesome. That's
I mean, and just recently, I mean, anyone who watches Cobra Kai, he's been Johnny's dad. And so it's like crazy to think that up until just, most likely, I think they probably film some stuff for the newest season of Cobra Kai with him if he's
I think
in
they
it at all.
finished shooting the new season, actually.
Yeah, so it's like it's the thing of it's like it doesn't matter what you've been watching. He's just been in everything in some way. It's crazy the footprints he's left on his entire career from Mary Tyler Moore to Cobra Kai.
Yeah, and even like a Christmas classic, Elf.
Mm-hmm.
Play Santa.
He was a perfect Santa. He was really great.
He's played Santa probably like 200 times over. Like he's done a bunch of animated Santas, but I think he's actually played Santa probably at least 10 times in his career.
It feels just kind of like Christopher Lee-esque, where you have this actor that's been around for a lifetime, and just any genre he's touched in some way. And so I think that's kind of where it's like going to be weird not having Ed Asner in any form.
And at 91, he kept working until the end there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a great testament to just a very persistent and hardworking actor.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, were you a fan?
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, Mary Tyler Moore Show is one of my all-time favorite sitcoms. And it's funny when you say like from like comedic to serious, the fact that like his spin-off of his character from Mary Tyler Moore was a drama. Lou Grant's show was a drama. So you got to see those two sides of him with the same character, which was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, his voice work, like he did, he was in Animaniacs. Like he did like multiple voices for a lot of the Warner Brothers.
Boondocks.
Wasn't he Cosgrove in Freakazoid?
I think so.
You guys remember?
And I was just watching this like earlier, like this week and this month, Dinosaurs. He did a couple voices on.
Awesome.
And Bonkers, he did some voices on as well. And he did
You are correct about that. Yes, he did voice Cosgrove.
Cosgrove on Freakish.
Yeah, and he was
Right.
on Gargoyles. He did so much. He was J. Jonah Jameson on the 90s Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, he's everywhere.
Yeah. That's
And
great.
he's he definitely will be missed. There's a big open field of roles that we're just waiting for him. So
That's a good point. So, we're gonna remember him through his legacy, really, his body of work. Like I said, so vast. And
oh yeah, I think he's like, if you look at his IMDb, it's like close to 300 roles or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, Mr. Asner, rest in peace, sir. Thank you for all you've given us. So guys, I just want to go around real quick. Weekly watches. What are we watching this week? Aside from stuff for this show. Eric, after you, sir.
I haven't been watching too much, mainly been keeping up with What If. That's been
Mhm.
a big one for me to keep up on. But other than that, I really haven't really been watching too much other than that I can think of at the moment.
I've got something that we've been watching
Well,
together.
Ted Lasso, of course.
Well,
every
aside
Friday.
from Ted Lasso, but Ted Lasso is so great. No, we've been watching Miracle Workers,
Mhm.
which originally airs on TBS, and the first couple seasons are on HBO Max.
Okay.
So,
What is it? I'm not familiar. What give a little lesson.
it's kind of like a new age Blackadder, where each season is set in a different time in a different place. And it has the same actors. Daniel Radcliffe is in it. Steve Buscemi is in it. The first season is set in basically heaven as a corporation.
Okay.
And Steve Buscemi is the trust fund kid who decided to make that Earth was like his project, and he's just kind of gotten tired of it. Now he wants to open a restaurant. So he's set like a timer that Earth is going to end in, I think it's like 14 days.
Okay.
And so Daniel Radcliffe, who works in the Department of Answered Prayers, has to work with his new transfer to answer an impossible prayer before the time runs out and they can save Earth.
Wow.
And the second season takes place in the Middle Ages. And that's where especially the Blackadder comparisons really come in. And Steve Buscemi plays a very sweet father who is a shit shoveler in the medieval times. So that's a lot of fun. And the third season, which we have not started yet, is a Western. So
Okay. How can people see it?
the first two seasons are on HBO Max, and I think the third season is streaming somewhere, possibly Hulu.
And airing on
Like as the next
TBS.
day.
I love it. You're really selling it, Rachel. So I'm gonna check it out. Matt, how about you? You're always watching something.
Yeah, this week I'm in back on that Disney horse again. Still stuck in 1993. It's been a lot, so much stuff in 1993. And they just really packed in a lot in the early.
Are you going in chronological order?
I am. I've been going in chronological.
Interesting.
So I've been 93. So and I did let's see the remake of Born Yesterday with John Goodman and Melanie Griffith and Don Johnson. I just did that one. I did Huck Finn with Elijah Wood.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Matt, there was actually one you posted about that I had never heard of. That was a World War II Nazi movie that also is about swing dancing.
Swing Kids?
Swing Kids is great. It's Christian Bale and
Frank Whaley.
The guy from Dead Poet Society and House. That guy is awesome. Basically, he's like his father was Jewish, and like him and Frank Whaley. So the three of them are like best friends. Christian Bale, that guy, Frank Whaley, and they're into swing, and they're like against the Nazis. Somehow they end up the two of them, not Frank Whaley, but the other two have to start like joining the Nazi youth, and Christian Bale's character gets like really wrapped into it and kind of becomes a Nazi. It's a really, really good movie. I definitely suggest checking it out.
And didn't that come out like a year after or before Newsies?
It's about a year or two after Newsies.
Yeah. Also Bale, also Disney.
Yep.
Interesting.
And then A Far Off Place with a young Reese Witherspoon and Ethan Embry. Is it Ethan Embry?
Oh, is it?
But yeah, it's been enjoyable. And now I'm watching Blood In, Blood Out, which is a gangland tale. So yeah.
Cool. A lot of stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
Disney should be paying you, I think.
Yeah, right.
Just like revisiting their classics.
Research, man. Research.
Yeah. As for me, we're going to do a future episode or mini-sode dedicated to Candyman. So I'm basically going through the first 3 films and the, I guess, sequel, the new sequel anyway. So very violent, very intense. So I've been kind of breaking up the time. I just started with a palate cleanser with Only Murders in the Building with Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. They make actually a really good trio. They're all so different in their personality, and it's just I was so curious because I love Steve Martin, I love Martin Short. You know, I'm sure you guys agree with me. You know, I grew up with them. They were like my unofficial uncles. You know, they raised me through their movies. So it's really cool to just see them being very silly. And that series is on Hulu right now, streaming on Hulu. So if you guys haven't seen it, I would recommend it. I'm only watched like the first episode or so, but so far so good.
Yeah, I think with the premiere on Hulu, they put up the first 3 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many total are we going to get?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think probably around 10, I would say.
Oh, okay. Cool. And I love that they shoot in New York. I always love that feature. So yeah, Only Murders in the Building. So that's on Hulu, guys. Check it out. Okay, so I think we should get into our first review since we've got 3 of them. This one has been delayed a number of times, but finally we got it. It's a really fun fantasy adventure film, I guess you call it. It's called Free Guy, and it stars Ryan Reynolds as a background character in a video game world who becomes self-aware, I guess is the term, and basically is trying to like find himself and find meaning. Along the way, he befriends and pretty much gets into a romantic situation with his developer, who has basically an avatar in the video game world. I honestly was a little let down by this movie. I thought it had so much potential, you know, it could have been sort of like a Wreck-It Ralph kind of feel to it, but it just kind of fell flat. The visual effects are beautiful. That coupled with Reynolds, you know, signature sarcasm and style and sense of humor, those were like the 2 takeaways for me that I really enjoyed. But overall, I kind of felt disappointed. I also want to mention another highlight, Jodie Comer, who I've never seen before, but she blew me away. She was really good as the romantic lead, and I wanted to see more of her, and I think she held her own. Yeah, so this movie, Free Guy, guys, take it away. Eric, your thoughts, sir?
I guess I'm kind of the opposite. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
When I first saw it, I'm kind of like, because usually video game, anything in movies doesn't really turn out too well. And so having basically an NPC in Grand Theft Auto gain sentience and decide to use that to be a nice guy in a Grand Theft Auto world, I thought was really funny. And I mean, it was very heavy-handed, but I mean, I really enjoyed it. It made me laugh. The comedy was all on point. Reynolds was it was kind of like weirdly PG Deadpool for him.
Right.
And I've liked Jodie Comer because since Killing Eve, and she was also on a show, Dr. Foster. So she's always been fantastic, and this is another great role for her. And I also enjoyed getting to see Steve outside of Stranger Things. And of course, the manic energy that Taika Waititi brings whenever they just let him do whatever he wants to do, and shows up in those trench coat or whatever.
I think that was from his personal collection.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
Whatever things he showed up. So it's like the comedy worked. I really enjoyed Guy and Buddy. Their relationship was fantastic. And I mean, I think the kind of the weird message about like speaking to a gaming world about like all these violent games about, hey, isn't it just nice to be nice? Is kind of like, that's a fascinating way to take it in a video game world. But I liked it. I thought it was a really good comedy.
I agree with the message there, but they didn't really, drive it home. They could have hammered in a little bit better. It kind of got lost in the shuffle, all the manic visual effects and action. But I guess there is some heart there. I'll agree with you on that one. So, Rachel, what do you think?
I'm kind of in the same camp as Eric with this one. When I saw the trailers for it, I wasn't super enthused about it. I can't even really explain why, honestly. I don't know if it was a trailer. The trailer just threw me off, but the comedy all worked really well for me. I appreciated that they took a few beats to really like actually delve into the characters a bit, like the whole sequence with them going to get ice cream and the bubblegum ice cream. And especially the scene where he figures out, like, she finally breaks it to him about, the way that things are, and him going through this existential crisis of, if I'm not real, then does anything matter? Which honestly, I think is something that a lot of us have felt in the past few years. I want to speak for everyone here, but I definitely have felt that. But yeah, I really liked it. And to echo what Eric was saying about Jodie Comer, she is really fantastic in this. And she got a chance to show some of her comedy side in Killing Eve, but that is extremely dark comedy. Like, that is a completely different beast from this. And she's shown that she's a very competent dramatic actress. So it was fun to get to see her in an action comedy. And I would love to see her and Reynolds continue working together, because I thought they actually had pretty good chemistry.
Yeah, their chemistry was one of the selling points for me. But yeah, Taika Waititi, I can't get enough of this guy. He steals the show.
I can't believe him and Ryan Reynolds have never done a movie before.
Eric, that's not true. We all know that's not true. They were in Green Lantern together.
What?
That's funny. That's funny. But wait, I don't remember them having a scene in this together.
Not together, no. But they always joked about that they had never worked together before. Both of them trying to forget Green Lantern.
Yeah.
I do love the ad that they did with Korg and Deadpool, the reaction video. That was genius.
Yeah.
Well,
I also I really liked there was a lot of little background details going on in some of the scenes, like especially because if you've watched any gamer streams, especially with people that are inexperienced gamers, and the fact of like people that keep running into walls or can't figure out the jump function, like there's a scene where there's like this very serious scene going on in the foreground, and in the background you just see this person continually running into the wall.
It's ridiculous. Well, you guys are you're selling the movie really well, because I did not get a great first impression, but maybe I'll have to give it another try, because usually upon second viewing, things kind of seem better. But
and comedy is entirely subjective too. So
the two cameos definitely made me bust out laughing quite hard.
Oh my god, so good.
But it's funny too, because I grew up with Grand Theft Auto 3 as a teenager. I love that game, and you never really think about the background characters, so it is kind of cool to see them highlight that aspect of
ones you're always running over.
All about stealing a car and beating up a hooker. It's like
Like they have a life too, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, with more respect for our NPCs. Come on.
yes.
Yeah. Well, what I like, I thought like what you were saying about like something more like Wreck-It Ralph, where it's like it kind of is, but for a different generation. It's
Mm.
not 80s retro. It's like 2000s retro.
I mean, I was still getting
Yeah.
some Tron vibes off of this one, though,
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
with the
it's
subplot
true.
with Comer's character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tron, I could see maybe even a little bit of a Matrix vibe too,
Mhm.
kind of
Yeah.
like alternate reality. But
Mhm.
But
Definitely a bit of Ready Player One too, especially towards the end with
Yes.
the appearance of the shield and the lightsaber.
yeah.
such a better film though. It's sad.
Well,
um,
yeah, it's funny too because I saw it with my kids, and it's like they recognize all the like YouTube guys are all real YouTubers, with the exception of the one that's like mom, like, but like all the rest of them are real like online gamers. So it's like
yeah.
it was pretty cool for like my kids are like, oh, I know who that guy is. I know who that guy is.
Wow. Good for them. they have fans. So guys, I guess it's unanimous. You say see it, yeah, pass this along to everybody interested in a good sci-fi adventure. I say see it. See you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's a comedy. It worked. I laughed. I
Fun.
enjoyed myself. I really
It's got a good
it
cast.
was a good surprise for me.
Yeah, it
And
exceeded my expectations.
I
Yes.
can't even think of a better actor than Ryan Reynolds to portray Guy. So,
Yeah, he was definitely giving me Chris Pratt level vibes from Lego Movie.
Yeah.
like that.
Mhm.
Awesome. So guys, Free Guy is now out in theaters and will be available on Disney Plus with Premier Access or Hulu Disney Plus Star. Free Guy will also be released on digital on September 28th, 45 days after its theatrical release, as well as on 4K DVD and Blu-ray on October 12th, courtesy of Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment. Matt, you're a fan. Cool. All right. So that's Free Guy, guys. So let's get into our second film, which is a lot different, really different. This is a French tennis drama, and it's called Final Set. Just in time for the US Open, actually. That's awesome. Basically, it follows Thomas, played by Alex Lutz, who is basically an aging tennis star who has a knee injury and it's kind of, emotionally kind of blue. He's having some issues at home, issues with his career. And I love this movie. I thought it was just a lovely French film. It was a great mix of sports and drama, and they really meshed it well. Kind of reminded me a little bit like maybe Rudy or Hoosiers, but with tennis. So, and Alex Lutz, he was fantastic. I thought he was the perfect lead as Thomas Edison, the character's name. Yeah, this is a very strong film, and I'm glad I saw it. Matt, what were your thoughts on Final Set?
I enjoyed it. It was definitely a pleasurable experience. I mean, it's not a movie I'll probably really ever like go back to, but I definitely enjoyed my time with it. Usually anything sports related, I'm not like super keen on because I could give two shits about pretty much any sport.
Yeah,
I just saw lightning. That was whoa.
I saw that too.
But no, I mean it was I like a good drama. It was kind of like you were saying like Rudy. It kind of like felt like me like The Wrestler meets Rudy, and The Wrestler is one of those movies, sports related movies that I could go back and watch like whenever. I just think it's a good character study. I like when they're more character study than they are about the sport. There's a little too much tennis in this movie for me, but I digress. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a beautiful film, and I liked it.
Good. Yeah. Eric, thoughts?
Huge fan. It was definitely, again, another surprise for me. I really had no idea what we're getting into, and it's one of the more brutal sports movies I can think of in a long time, because you are watching someone rip their every fiber of their body to pieces, and yeah, you get some little bit of body horror in some of the things that how much he's willing to break himself to excel. And it is, the acting is great, the story is great, it is a real interesting underdog movie, especially from the idea of watching an aged person, aged in the sense of aged out of a sport. Like, he's only 37, but I mean, at 37 in tennis, it's like, yeah, your body's not going to be forgiving you for the tremendous amount of stress you're putting on it. And the idea that really, at somebody at that age, that they don't really have any other option but to keep going till their body finally breaks. And that's definitely the wrestler influence. But I think what, even though I'm not the biggest tennis fan, the way they shoot the scenes, the tennis matches, is incredible. And it really makes me curious, like, how they pulled off some of these very intense matches.
I don't know if that was computer generated or it might have been real.
Yeah, however they did it, whether it was real or whatever, it looked incredible, and it really amplified the movie. The tennis matches were intense, especially like just with how close you were with the players. There
are some shots where it's like a first person view of the tennis ball.
Yeah.
Like, how the hell did they do that? It looks so good. Yeah.
So there is a website called archiesport.com that did an article about how the final scene of the match was shot. Right. If anyone is interested in that.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
That's cool. Yeah. Kudos to Quentin Reynaud, who wrote and directed. Wonderful mastery of the camera, and definitely going to read that article, Rachel. That's awesome. So yeah, I typically don't do foreign films, but this film captivated me. And I just love the character of Thomas. I love the family story, the side story of that, the side story of his much younger competitor, who's like he's like what, 17, to Thomas's 37. So it's quite a gap there. It would have been cool to see some more scenes between the two of them, kind of like, off the court, if there was like some like rivalry off the court as opposed to on.
Yeah, as far as that goes, it kind of reminds me of Disney's Miracle that they did, where they specifically didn't want to have the animosity be between the teams themselves, but be more about like the larger themes going on. And I feel like actually, if they would have had a lot of scenes together, it would have maybe detracted maybe. Also, I kind of appreciate the sort of respect that ends up happening between the two of them by the end of those matches, because they know just how difficult this whole thing is. Like, they're the only other person that is in that match. So
yeah, it was good. It was really good. I was I watched the trailer prior to seeing it. I was like, okay, this looks interesting. And then, whoa, I was really impressed at this film.
Yeah, definitely not for people who have a fear of picking at scabs and other various blisters.
Not even letting it scab, like just ripping flesh.
Like seeing, like, it goes what I mean with watching a man literally tear himself apart.
Yeah. I mean, just like so many shots that where it like he's in the shower and it's like the pan to the floor full of blood, like just like damn.
It was like blood and dirt.
Yeah. If you're skittish of blisters on hands, stay away.
Oh, man. Yeah, seriously, it's like a little touch of Cronenberg in there.
A little body horror.
And I feel like also the story itself, that you could have made a whole other movie about his wife and the fact that she clearly gave up her tennis career, which it took so far into the movie for them to actually acknowledge it.
Right.
I wish there was more of her in her story in there.
And by the way, that was, I believe, Anna Girardot, who was brilliant in this, as the tortured wife who's like just supporting her husband no matter what, even at the expense of her own career. You know, so that's true love and true dedication on her part. So, yeah.
Well, and
Also,
he also unfortunately doesn't seem to completely appreciate it, which is
yeah.
really frustrating to
No,
watch.
he's an egomaniac, and he just cares about his own success. Also, Kristen Scott Thomas, wonderful actress. She has a great supporting role as his mother, who has a very interesting way of supporting him as well.
To say the least.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, this is just a really well-rounded drama. You know, I'm not a tennis guy myself. I'm not, you know, but I really respected the balance of the sport and the story. I thought that was like a perfect balance there. I don't know if it's going to make my top 10 for the year so far. I mean, it's still early, but this might be a runner-up. We shall see. So, all right, that is Final Set. And guys, I think you guys recommended, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And if you people listening, watching at home, if you don't want to read subtitles, then this is not the movie for you. All right. So Final Set is now out playing at the New York City's Quad Cinema and also on virtual cinema. So I highly recommend Final Set. All right, guys. So we're going to take a short commercial break, but we'll be back with more film reviews, our final film review of the evening, right after this.
Under the Radar is brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Patent pending interchange genuine gemstone and crystal EMF protection jewelry. For more information, please visit magnitudejewelry.com/gemgirl or call 718-268-6634.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Randy Younger Under the Radar, and we've got one more film review left. This one is, I was very excited to go see this. It is on Netflix now. It's a new documentary called Bob Ross, Happy Accidents, Betrayal, and Greed. And it basically is a biography of Bob Ross, the TV host slash painter, host of The Joy of Painting in the, I think it was 70 or 80, definitely the 80s into the 90s, who basically captured our hearts with his afro and his wonderful artistic style. He was just so calming, so, you know, like sort of like Mr. Rogers with a paintbrush, I'd say. And, you know, whenever you flip on the TV and you'd see his show, I think it was PBS, you would just kind of just sit there and watch, because it was just a really delightful program. It was very positive. You know, he never seemed like a very judgmental guy or very negative. He was just painting, and he wanted to share that beauty with his audiences. And this documentary, it definitely shined a light on his life and his business affairs. Most notably with his son and some people that he got into business with later on in life, and the legal battle involving his name and his image, his show, his basically everything he was. Very dark, very sinister, but overall, this movie very interesting. I learned a lot about Ross. I really didn't know much about him. I believe he was also in the military. And yeah, it was just, I was very excited to see this film. And Bob Ross, Happy Accidents, Betrayal, and Greed. Matt, what were your thoughts on the film?
I'm actually kind of disappointed in it because I wanted there to be more dirt. They're really like honestly, there's nothing impressive about most of the story. It's basically like a guy who loved to paint got to paint for his whole life, and you're like, oh wow, that's cool. And he might have slept with another woman, maybe, who then says no, I didn't sleep with him. And then he the only thing is that he got into business with some shitheads who fucked over his family, and that's pretty much like I just did the whole movie for you, right there.
Well, and the fact that one of the shitheads that he got into business with was the woman that he supposedly had an affair with.
Yeah. So, and it's like it made me disappointed that every time I see Bob Ross merchandise, I know that the money goes to shitmongers.
Yep.
And it's like at Pickle Island, our TV automatically, when you turn it on, goes to a channel that plays nothing but Bob Ross. So like Bob Ross is like on a lot, whatever, and it just makes me sad because now I'm just thinking like, oh, this couple is like raking money off of him. Like every time you see like a Bob Ross chia pet or like whatever, like I've had like bobbleheads and whatever, and it's like. Yeah. Those people get paid, and like his family doesn't.
I had no idea. This movie totally, enlightened me about what's going on. Even after he died in 1995. So this nonsense, this insanity, this legal
going on for a long time.
Crazy.
But I mean, I liked it. But I expected with a name like that, I expected more scandal.
Yeah, right.
There wasn't a lot of scandal really, and it wasn't like Tiger King or anything. Definitely not going to start off the second wave of the pandemic, honestly.
Though that couple is very similar to that couple from Tiger King that was feuding with him. Especially the wanting to corner the entire market of painting supplies and using his image after his death to continue shilling this stuff.
Oh yeah.
It kind of reminds me of what was the Fred Rogers documentary?
My Neighbor.
Yeah, where I mean, also that one you got like you were expecting like, oh, now's the time when you're going to find out that dirty secret about Fred Rogers, and the worst thing was his kids were like, well, he wasn't always there for us. It's like, oh, that's the worst thing Fred Rogers did in his entire life, according to this documentary. Like, okay,
he cursed once.
Yeah, he was slightly behind the times when it came to gay rights.
Yeah, but then he got better. But then he
got better.
Improved. And then it's like, and so it's like, and I like that documentary about Fred Rogers. I did like this documentary too, but I get that sense where you're right, where there's no grand reveal that like underneath the afro, like there was some hideous secret. And
robot
I think
brain.
But I think
we did find out it was just a perm and not an actual afro. There we go. That's the big reveal, guys. It was a perm.
But I think what the documentary did, what I think was really smart, was whereas the Fred Roger ones knew that it wasn't going to give you any dark revelation. So it was about celebrating the life of someone who was that kind and understanding and who was able to rise above a lot of those things. And I think in this one, it wanted to give you both here's Bob Ross, but also the fact that Bob Ross has gotten this weird cultural resurgence, kind of that he's been back in I think it wanted to say, hey, here's the Bob Ross that you love that's now culturally relevant. And hey, here's why you should be careful about buying into the resurgence of Bob Ross, of all this stuff. And I feel like that's the thread line, the edge that the documentary is walking, is both a celebration of Bob Ross and a warning about what it means to celebrate him currently.
Yeah. Honestly, especially towards the end when they're talking about the likeness stuff and his illness and everything, I was having flashbacks to Alex Trebek and the recent battle going on about the continuation of Jeopardy and about who's going to be the face for it and who's going to continue the legacy, and also the outpouring of love that people have had for Trebek in his battle with cancer, and the fact that these people that were in business with him and were manipulating things, that they didn't even want people to know he was dead.
It's
it's like, can you even imagine if something had happened like that with Trebek? If instead of him coming out and being open about what was going on with him, if they had just hidden it and then, you know, pretended like he didn't die and didn't tell anyone about the memorial service. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
crazy.
It was kind of a, I guess, not a very balanced documentary. They didn't really get into Bob Ross's life outside of his show. It was, I think they could have focused more on the shady dealings of the what was the name of the they had a funny, the Kowalskis. Yeah. That they could have focused more on that. But
it's funny too. I don't hold a lot of I don't, I don't know how much of this is true because the person I heard it from is a conspiracy theorist, but he believes a lot of crazy things. But he was telling me that the painter that Bob Ross took lessons from was a Nazi.
I believe it.
And I'm like, I could see that, and I wish they would talk more about that if that was true.
Wow, maybe that'll be the sequel to this. I don't know. But yeah, he had a very gruff German accent. So yeah. So as far as documentaries go, I think this is a pretty decent one. And if you have Netflix, check it out. I've heard about this film for a couple months now, so I'm glad I finally got to go.
They've really been spreading the word for a while, so
yeah. So it's a fun one. I grew up watching him. I was more of a casual watcher, wasn't really a huge fan.
I mean, I don't know many people within our age group that watched it religiously.
Yeah.
It would be like, if it was on, I'd be like, oh cool, Bob Ross is on. Yeah. I'm gonna watch him for a bit. I wouldn't watch the whole episode, but you watch him finish painting, all right, he's gonna put that tree in. He's gonna put that tree in.
And that voice, it was so relaxing to listen
yeah.
to, so it's nice. So, all right, guys, see it, skip it. What do you think?
I'd recommend see it.
Yeah, see it.
Definitely.
I mean, it's cool to get to know more about Bob Ross, his background and everything, because literally, we knew absolutely nothing about him.
That's true.
Him and his squirrel friends.
Figures, you at least know some background on. Yeah. Bob Ross, you never knew anything about him. It was just a mystery wrapped in a riddle, wrapped in an enigma.
I really wanted him to have had that affair with that woman.
Yeah. Well, his son seems to think he did, so
yeah.
I trust him more than someone who refused to be in the documentary.
True.
And I loved how they point out that several people who were originally involved in getting interviewed backed out because they didn't want to get sued by the Kowalskis.
Right.
So it's it kind of goes to show you what shitheels they are.
Yeah.
Apparently they love suing people. So
yeah. And
they're going to have an iron grip on that. I mean, clearly, if the, like I said, the cultural resurgence of Bob Ross is any indication, they've been making a lot of bank off of.
Right.
All
the
stuff.
Sounds like he didn't even want to use his own last name.
Yeah.
Because in fear of being, attacked by them.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah. It encourages you to, instead of just going out and buying something with Bob Ross's face on it, to instead carry on the legacy that he, had of that he wanted people to paint for enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's definitely pick up a paintbrush or support a local artist.
Yeah.
And to encourage art education with young people.
Yeah.
That's the real message that this film should have hammered down, really gotten across. The film served its purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I am tempted to now get the Bob Ross chia pet.
Then you're giving money to the Kowalski.
I know, but it's so cool.
I'll give you this. If you steal it from a Walmart, you can have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you steal it from a Target, you can have it. But if you pay for it, I'm very mad at you.
Okay, I'll
5-figure discount only.
I'll see what
This
I can
program
do.
does not endorse the theft of any.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore. All right. So that is Bob Ross, Happy Accidents, Betrayal and Greed, now streaming on Netflix. So go check it out. Now we're going to do coming attractions, what's coming out this week. And first up, we've got a drama called Time Is Up, and it stars Bella Thorne and Benjamin Mascolo. Seems like a science fiction romantic dramedy or just drama. No interest there. Though I have seen Bella Thorne before. She's pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, next up, we've got a crime drama horror film called Malignant. And this is actually directed and produced and written, well, the story was written by James Wan. Madison is paralyzed by shocking visions of grisly murders, and her torment worsens as she discovers that these waking dreams are in fact terrifying realities. So, James Wan, gotta love him. It's great. This one I'm excited for. This is called The Card Counter, and it's an action drama thriller written and directed by Paul Schrader, who we all know from Taxi Driver, among other things. And it stars Oscar.
First Reformed.
Oh, that's a great movie. Yes, Hawk. Was he nominated for that, for an Oscar?
Yes, he was for screenplay.
But Ethan Hawke was or wasn't for acting.
He was not, which is
It
just
got overlooked
nonsense.
big time.
He was robbed because that was like, I think that's my favorite role of his. Very, very strong. But this one, The Card Counter, it stars Oscar Isaac, who is ex-military. He's an ex-military interrogator turned gambler, haunted by the ghosts of his past. So that's pretty cool. We've got also Tiffany Haddish is in it, Ty Sheridan, and Willem Dafoe. So that has serious potential. Looking forward to that. The Card Counter.
And that kid from The Night Clerk.
Yeah. Oh God. Matt, why'd you have to do that?
Comes back like a bad penny.
Oof. What an awful film. Yeah, but Ty Sheridan, he was great in Ready Player One. All right, next on the list, we've got coming attractions, Queen Pins, which actually looks pretty good. It's got Kristen Bell, Kirby Howell Baptiste, Paul Walter Hauser, Bibi Rexha, and Vince Vaughn. And it's basically about two bored housewives who start a coupon club scheme. And Paul Walter Hauser and Vince Vaughn, I think they play federal agents hot on their tail. So Rachel, you turned me on to The Good Place. I've been watching it. I'm in the middle of season 1. And I kind of like Kristen Bell. She's funny. She's good. Fantastic. Yeah. So this movie, I might have to go see. It's called Queen Pins. So that's coming out. Last on the list, we've got Small Engine Repair, which is a dramedy starring John Bernthal, Shea Whigham, John Polono, and Spencer House. Events spin wildly out of control when 3 lifelong friends agree to do a favor on behalf of the brash young woman they all adore. Okay, some potential there. John Bernthal is really good. Anything, spark your interest, guys? Eric?
I like Kristen Bell. That sounds interesting. I'm always a big fan of Bernthal, so those two definitely have risen to the top of. I need to check those out.
Sweet, Matt.
Those as well, and Card Counter. I mean,
yes.
Oscar Isaac is, I fucking love that guy, and I'd say he can do no wrong, but they made that Apocalypse movie. But
and he was also in oh my gosh, the Snyder movie, Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch. Well,
okay. That's a visually beautiful film, by the way.
It's
Snyder,
I mean, that's like one of those things like Sucker Punch. It's supposed to be as bad as it is, so it's like I can give that a pass because it is what it is. But well, and we mentioned Ethan Hawke as well in Paul Schrader talk, and both of them will be in Marvel's Moon Knight. So
Yep,
I'm
that's true.
super excited that Oscar Isaac brought Ethan Hawke into the MCU. So
Yep.
I'm
Lovely.
super excited about that.
Mhm.
I love it. I love it. Rachel, anything catch your
Definitely that James Wan film that's coming out.
Mhm.
I really like his stuff, and
Trailer looks super cool. Like
yeah, and I don't know if I'm gonna make it down to Halloween Horror Nights this year, and I could use some very good horror in my life.
Okay.
Have a feeling that if it's good, it'll probably be a house next year.
Before we do plugs, then, I was actually going to save this to the very end, but obviously 9/11 is coming up, and this will be the 20th anniversary of that tragic day. And obviously, it was horrible, and I just want to, you know, just send out my condolences and my best wishes to all the families, all the friends, everyone involved. Everyone in the buildings, everyone involved, who was, horribly affected by this terrible day. And I personally, I remember, I think I was I was in history class, forget which grade, but it was definitely in high school. And teacher told us about it, obviously upset. And it was crazy. See, being in Queens, I saw the smoke. You could actually, I think we actually smelled it in Queens, and it's just a terrible day. So guys, do you have anything you want to say, or Rachel?
Well, I definitely remember that day as well. I was actually in marching band, and we were doing rehearsal out on the field, and our teacher, our director, got up and said, "Hey, for those of you that went on the New York trip, we went to the World Trade Center. It sounds like something's happened and they've been hit by a plane." And we didn't think that we thought maybe this was like his idea of a joke or something. And it wasn't until like he was like, "No, I'm being serious. This just happened." And we went inside like the school, and everybody had their TVs on. Like it was, I mean, I don't think anyone that lived through that will forget where they were on that day.
Yeah, it was unreal. You see the images, you see the video. It looks like something out of an action movie. It was very
it
unreal.
was beyond anything you see in an action movie. I mean, I was at work at Tower Records. I was opening the store, and a guy, the store wasn't open yet. It was like 8 a.m. I had just gotten there, and I was like setting up the new release rack, and a guy was banging on the door, and he's like, "Turn on the TV," and I'm like, "Oh my god, we don't have TVs. It's just like there's no cable. It's connected to a VCR. Turn on the radio," and it's like, these are CD players. Like, I'm like, I don't have any access to the outside world. And this is before smartphones and everything. And he just starts screaming, "New York City's on fire!" And I'm like, "What?" Like, and I grabbed like a small radio out of the back room, and I turned it on. And I was like listening. It was so surreal. And I remember on my lunch break going down the street to my friend's house and just like watching on TV, like the news footage, seeing people jumping out of the building. It was insane. And it's like clearly the kind of thing you'll never forget seeing, and like it's horrifying. And then it oddly we got calls that we had to like take certain records off of the shelf that were released that day. One was an album by The Coup, their hip hop duo, which the cover of the album they released had the World Trade Center on fire on it.
Oh my
god. God Hates Us All by Slayer, they wanted us to take off the shelf. And a Dream Theater live in New York City, which also had the World Trade Center. It had like the New York City cityscape on fire.
Wow.
And it's like so weird that those came out on that day.
That's insane.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Eric, what are your recollections?
For me, I was in high school. I remember when the news kind of broke. It first came to us as an accident, like, oh, a plane hit. Oh, that's terrible. And I had at that time I was my senior year, so I could go home for lunch basically, and I didn't live far. So I remember going home and just kind of, I think pretty much like everyone else who was, turned on the news to see what happened. The realization of what was happening, what started out as a tragic accident into what it really was, as it started to dawn on everyone, and pretty much just sat there just entranced and just kind of like, I don't remember ever really leaving that feeling the whole day, like just this kind of this like, now what, like after everything was happening, is just kind of this thing of, I can't believe this is happening, and where do we go from here? That real sense of dread quickly setting in. And yeah, so I definitely just remember being there, just like I said, probably like a lot of other people, just staring at that screen, just wanting to make sense of everything.
Yeah. Terrible, terrible day. I'm not sure what the Sarah, I know that every year they read off all the names of the victims at the site. I'd like to visit the museum at some point. I hear it's really interesting.
It is.
We've been there, yeah.
Oh, you went? Okay,
Mhm.
cool. So yeah, 20 years, guys. So yeah, my heart goes out to everybody. And let's do plugs. Is there anything going on that you guys want to mention? Eric has nothing again.
I got nothing.
Okay. All right, that's fine. No news is good news, I guess.
Yeah, in this case, yeah.
Cool. Mr. Roran?
Well, as always, I have Pickle Island, with Bayville, New York. Come down, buy some pickles, buy some DVDs, buy comics, that kind of stuff. It's in Bayville. You'll like it. And also the new Matt Roran karaoke experience video dropped. I love it. So that's if you look on YouTube under MRKE or Matt Roran karaoke experience, you can find the video for I Love It. And yeah.
A question, because I saw a video of that, and I just had to talk to the man himself. I had to talk to you about that.
Okay.
What is the story behind that video? Because I see you in a like a rave. You're all wet with like, it looked like beer. What was like a quick story behind that?
Oh, it's just like a party video. We shot my friend's backyard. We did numerous takes. One of which was people bombarding me with water balloons and pouring drinks on me and stuff.
Got to check more of that out. And last but not least, Rachel, anything you want to plug?
Yes. So my baking Instagram is officially up. The name is Second Act Bake Shop, and that's spelled out Second Act Bake Shop. It's on Instagram. You can see some of the stuff that I've been baking. You can also find my sweet dog Dobby, also on Instagram at Dobby the House Doggo. And my last plug is the third episode of Faith Healing is up on everywhere that you find podcasts. So check that out.
And just seeing the pictures, it's true art, I must say. And I want to try everything, basically. So maybe when things get a little more normal, we can have a little, like an episode dedicated to your treats, and we'll have a little taste party or whatever. I don't know.
Sounds good.
Yeah, for sure. And all right, guys, so that about does it. I just want to remind viewers that they could watch Under the Radar. It's every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern on Manhattan Neighborhood Network. Also, you could check it out on cable TV channels, FiOS 34, RCN 83, Spectrum 56, and 1996. And I think that's only in New York City. But check out Manhattan Neighborhood Network to check out the show online. And for previous episodes, interviews, and commentaries, you can visit my YouTube channel, Under the Radar. Subscribe, share, spread the word. And yeah, That about does it for tonight. I'm Randy Unger. This has been Under the Radar. See you next time. Take care.